to the Super Speedway.
Welcome to episode 296 of the Super Speedway Podcast, recorded Tuesday, September 19th, 2023. I'm your host, Eric Young, and I'm joined, as always, by my co-host, James Cush. 3 attempts tonight to get the show started, James, but it was kind of a little, less rocky. It really wasn't, complete screw-ups tonight. It was just, let's do that again.
Well, it's just like Bristol. We had to red flag the cars 5 times, and so it's all right.
I wasn't affected by any of that because I was actually at the big house with no signal watching college football during the Bristol race, and I got home and watched the race until I finally went to bed at 4 in the morning.
I got
the race left to go.
I don't envy any of that. Being crammed into that place.
I'll tell you, I wrote a column about it for the newspaper this week, and it's all about how horrible of an experience it was. I made it seem like it was great on social media, but man, I will say, if you ever have the chance to go to the big house, it is a once in a lifetime thing. You need to do it once, but only once.
Yes. Yeah. I was going to say, I went to a conference in Ann Arbor once and got to walk around the field by myself.
Yeah.
Pretty much. I mean, there was people out there, but it was empty, and it was awesome to do that.
Yeah.
I have no desire to go back down there.
I will go back if I can be on the sidelines again, because I'd done that in the past, but I won't go back to the seats. I will say, though, that when I went the last time, I don't think Mr. Brightside was out yet. It certainly wasn't the stadium anthem for the Wolverines. Once they did that at the end of the third quarter, I was pretty much done. Just having 100,000 people singing any song, really. I mean, they could have been singing anything. It would have been awesome, but
that's a great song.
Yeah. So once that was over, I was good to go. Thought I was going to miss it because I was standing in line for almost the entire third quarter to buy food that they were sold out of.
Oh my God.
Because I brought my kids. So anyway, it was it was an experience. But that is no more. I don't have to walk a mile and a half to the arena again from my parking spot. So
there's one thing, I guess, if we wanted to tie a bow on this.
Yeah.
The big house in Bristol are not that dissimilar.
No, I was thinking about that
bowls.
because when we get there, I'm sitting there and it's just a sea of people. And again, so this is a stadium that's, if you're not from Michigan, if you're not familiar with the big house, I mean, most people know, I think, what the big house is, but it's the biggest, the most capacity of a stadium in the U.S. And it's not really any bigger than an NFL stadium. And in fact, it's kind of smaller because it's just a bowl. It doesn't have the multiple levels.
Yeah.
But you cram, probably 25,000 more people into the space. So you don't have bucket seats or anything like that. You've got a bench that you sit on, and your knees are on the back of the people in front of you, and the people behind you are knees on your back. So it is impressive and they sell 100,000 tickets to that thing every game.
Yeah.
And it was pretty incredible to be in there, and I was looking at the sea of people, and then later that night I saw the wide shot of Bristol, and I was like, man, that's what Bristol would feel like too.
Yeah, it's the funny thing about the big house that for me, because I was in an empty big house, and I thought it was small.
Yeah.
But I was like, and then I thought, man, you cram over 100,000 people in this joint. I bet you it ain't small. I bet you it's just rocking.
Well, that's the first time I went in there. I went in on the sidelines, 2 hours before kickoff, and there weren't a lot of people in there. And having covered a bunch of games on, football fields throughout, high school and stuff, I went out there expecting this huge thing, and you realize that it's still a football field, and that's all it is. I mean, it's the size of a football field, and it's actually smaller. You don't have as much room around the ends because they cram the seats right up to the football field.
That's right. Yeah.
And so, it seems small, but when that place is packed, man, it's loud.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. So
yeah.
But one time is it.
One time, yeah.
That is
one
all.
and done.
I couldn't care less about college sports, period. So it doesn't.
Yes.
No affiliation whatsoever for me. I wore Michigan stuff because it was a family member who got us tickets, and we were in Michigan. But I don't have any affiliation with my college.
I've never felt more gross than I do. We got to change the subject.
Yeah. All right. Let's do that. Let's talk Bristol. So Bristol Motor Speedway Bass Pro Shops night race. Well, if we're going to change the subject, let's change it to something else to discuss to you, James.
Let's go.
Let's talk Denny Hamlin.
Dennis.
Denny Hamlin beat your favorite driver this weekend.
He beat all of our favorite driver. Oh, jeez.
So Denny Hamlin gets the win. Says he said multiple times this week that he's feeling better than he's ever felt in the playoffs.
So his injury that he was telling us all about's gone.
Right.
Yeah.
But he's playing the villain, man. And we have sat here and said we want somebody to actually embrace it.
Yep.
Well, now we have somebody embracing it. So do we like it?
Yes.
Me too. I love it.
Wrestling heels are a thing, man.
His driver intro was just classic. I loved it. Did you saw that, right?
I love that. Yes, of course. Now, here's where I fall on Denny, just to get this out of the way.
Yeah.
I have a lot of problems with a lot of drivers. I'm not a fan, I like a lot of drivers, and there's drivers that rub me the wrong way. Denny rubs me the wrong way. But the best part about Denny Hamlin is that, one, like you said, Eric, he embraces the villain role, and he's really good at it.
He's really good at it.
But he backs it up because the son of a gun wins races,
yeah,
and sticks it in your face.
Yep.
So that I like. You got to have somebody out there that you dislike. It makes it more fun. So Denny, keep doing what you're doing, man. I mean, obviously he annoys the heck crap out of me, but it's good. This is great. I love what he's doing with this right now.
I loved it because I've been a Kyle Busch fan for so long, and Kyle has had glimpses of embracing it, but you can tell it bothers him.
He never would do it.
He doesn't like being booed.
No.
And Denny don't care.
Denny doesn't care. Denny's established, man.
Yeah.
He's good. He's got his wins, and he's got his race team. He's fine.
Yep.
He's happy with it.
He's selling T-shirts. His gloves were the highest. The last I checked for the Dale Earnhardt Jr. gloves this weekend. He's still got fans. He's getting what he's making. He's making money. He's got
good sponsors. He's got good fans. He's got fast race cars. What more does he need? He's totally fine.
Exactly.
Yeah, I do love that he's embraced the role. Like Ross tried to, he just couldn't. Ross just didn't want it.
No.
He didn't want to embrace it. He didn't think he was a bad guy. He would have been a perfect villain.
He would have been.
But he just can't do it. Kyle Busch was there for a long time. People just didn't like Kyle Busch for Kyle Busch.
Yeah, Kyle Busch came across whiny. Denny doesn't come across whiny so much.
No, he's an irritant.
Yeah.
He's a good irritant. And he's been around a long time.
He's like Kevin Harvick was, really. I mean, there's a lot of similarities with Kevin Harvick.
Yeah.
Except Harvick did it early in his career because he felt like he had to. Yeah. And now that he doesn't have to anymore, he doesn't do it anymore. So he's eased out of that. Whereas Denny has been completely the opposite. He came in as a fan favorite.
And Denny's rough. Yeah. He's been rough, but I hope I'm not stealing one of your points, but Denny was talking on his podcast about how the driver is the difference now, like the biggest factor in the race car. He said early in his career he used to have fast race cars and he'd race differently, but now the driver makes the majority of the difference in the car, and that's why you see so much aggression,
which is what we want, right?
Yeah, I think it's good. I think it's good. Again, just to reiterate, you gotta have. I mean, that's sports, man. You can't be in love with all these drivers out there. Right. You got to have guys that are, kind of in your craw, and he's good. He's good at that.
Yeah, I mean, for example, James, I mean, not that the season was bad, but when did SRX get less interesting this year? When Paul Tracy was sat.
Yeah, when he stopped wrecking race cars.
Yeah, I mean, so when you have that villain out there, it makes it more fun. And
yes, it does.
A couple of them is even better, but man, Denny's playing the role, and then you need the villain to win, and he's doing that. So,
who's the last guy who embraced the persona?
I was trying to think of that. Was it Earnhardt?
I mean, it might be. I don't want to compare Denny to Dale, but man, that might be.
Earnhardt wasn't as much of a villain as he was just a character. I don't know that he was the intimidator. He wasn't the bad guy. He was the guy you didn't mess with.
He wasn't a guy where we needed a white knight to come and save us.
Right.
He was. And if anything, he was the complete opposite, where we had these two pillars towards the end of his career, where it was Jeff Gordon on one side and Dale on the other, and you either liked one or you liked the other, and you hated the other guy.
Yeah. I mean, maybe someone like Rusty Wallace, but man, it's been a long time, James.
Yeah, we haven't had like a real black hat.
Well, we went through no personality at all in the 2000s. I mean, all the drivers were worried about was knocking the Powerade bottles off the roof of their car in victory lane because they drank Pepsi, you know.
I think Kurt went through it a little bit when he was in his bad behavior phase, but that didn't last very long.
Yeah, and Kurt was different too. You can't be angry. Denny's not angry.
No.
He's just the bad guy.
That's why Smoke never got there either. He had a taste of it, but he was more like fiery all the time. Like running hot all the time.
Yeah.
But
Denny's not out there fighting people.
Yeah, it's not like we haven't had a real wrestling heel.
Right.
And this is a true wrestling heel.
Yeah, he's doing good.
Yep, I enjoy it. I've got no problem with it.
Yeah, me neither.
Plus, it's going to be fun when he doesn't win the championship and I get to trot all over the place. So it's good.
I don't know, man. We don't want him to. If you don't want him to win, you don't want him to get him any momentum, and you just got some.
Here's the thing about Denny Hamlin. If you had bet against him winning the championship his entire career from when he started until now, you'd be very, very rich.
Yeah, that's true.
Because he just doesn't do it.
That's true.
We'll see.
That's true. So Bristol Motor Speedway, we got the night race again. They put PJ1 down in the corners, wider this time than they have in the past couple of years for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
What'd you think of the racing, James, at Bristol this weekend?
How am I going to word this? The tracks, there's nothing wrong with the track. The race was fine. It wasn't a barn burner. You're not going to have barn burner every week, but there's nothing wrong with the racetrack as it is. Yeah. It's the race car that's not doing what we want it to do. I don't think. And
I was watching. So I was watching the Xfinity race on Friday night.
Yep.
As I was watching that and watching them be able to run side by side and pass people and run 3 wide at times, I kind of had this epiphany where I was like, you know what? It's been so long since we've had the real Bristol that this is awesome. This is great.
It is great.
Because, you know, it's funny because the argument everybody always wants to have at Bristol is we need that PJ1 down, James, because we need to create a second groove. We need to create passing. We need to have 2 grooves.
Mm-hmm.
Baloney. Bristol never had 2 grooves. It was always a 1 groove racetrack.
Always was. Yep.
That's why it was good. The racing sucked, but you had to wreck people to get by them.
Yep.
Now it's been so long since we've had the wrecking to get by people that now we're appreciating the racing. And I kind of said that all along when this track started to become, when they reconfigured this track, the racing was great. It just wasn't what we were used to at Bristol.
Yes.
And now that has worn off, and now it's about the racing. And as you know, 95% of the weekends of the year, the Xfinity race put on a better show than the Cup race. The Cup race wasn't terrible. I'll agree with you on that. I would really like to see what would happen if we didn't put PJ1 down. I'd really like to try it.
Yeah, I think they would just be fighting up at the top for all that space.
I think so, but they're running in the middle too.
Yeah, maybe the new tire is grooving it in.
Because if you remember correctly, what they did is they had the progressive banking, and it was banked more at the top. And when the first time they ran it, everybody ran at the top. And then they were like, we got to tear this place up. We got to fix it. And Bruton Smith's like, well, hold on a minute. Let's just grind the top down. We'll get rid of that extra banking at the top. And now it's banked less at the bottom and then banked the rest of the way the same. And then we had 2 grooves of racing. And then the PJ1 thing came around and everybody's like, well, let's try it at Bristol. And they put it down at Bristol and we got 1 line for half the race and people started running into each other again and everybody was excited. And we said, let's just do this all the time. But we had 2 lines at Bristol before we started putting the PJ1 down.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the grinding that they did probably fixed the track and now we just keep screwing with it.
Yeah.
The only thing I don't like about it is it kind of feels like the first half of the race is just survive until we can actually race side by side.
Yeah. And then, you know, passing somebody takes 30 laps.
Yeah.
To really work somebody when you're faster, because
that inside line needs the outside coming off the turns.
Yeah, you almost have to run the track 2 different ways at opposite ends. You got to run the high line on one side to make the low line work in the next set of corners, and you almost need. And the other part of it is you almost need to run like 3 laps on the high side to get a lot of momentum going, and then you can work one side to the other. Which the race craft itself is very, very high level.
Yeah.
It just doesn't lead to the action that you want to see at Bristol.
Right. But I'll take this. I'll take this every day of the week versus once of what we see at Richmond.
Yeah. Oh, so, absolutely.
I mean, this racing,
there's a lot worse places.
It's good racing still. And
yeah.
I think it's back to a ticket worth buying, It's a race worth going to, and it wasn't for a little while.
Exactly. Yep.
But I will say that what Justin Allgaier did on Friday, pitting and coming through the field at the end,
was fun. Yeah.
You wouldn't do that in a cup race. You can't do it.
You can't. No, that's not happening. And it's funny. The cup race had comers and goers.
Yeah.
It's just when they got to the front, they kind of squatted there.
Yeah.
Like Corey LaJoie led almost 50 laps, and Ty Gibbs, like there was a moment there where Ty Gibbs looked like it was his day.
Ty Gibbs was going to win this race.
Yeah, and Chris Bell was up there for a long period of time, and then of course it closed out with Denny, sealing the deal at the last stage of the race.
Yeah,
but
Bell actually led the most laps, the 187.
He did 1-2 stages, looked like he was going to run away with it, and then they had a little pit gaffe again. Just a little one. That wasn't like the biggest deal in the world, but he just never came back. I know. They just never came back from it.
Bristol is second on pit road is an eternity on it. That's
oh my God. Yeah.
I mean, that's a 15th of a lap.
Yep.
you know, that's huge.
Yep.
Yep. So, this was a playoff cutoff race for the Cup Series. Martin Truex Jr. barely makes it in, just barely squeezes away in. Can you imagine? There was a situation, James, in this race where we could have lost not only the regular season champion, but the defending champion in the same round, first round.
Yep.
I will say that is a testament for the system.
Yeah. I was going through and trying to figure out like that Truex surviving, and now he gets to leapfrog.
He's right back up top. It's all he raced now.
Yeah. And now it's like, okay, well, Martin's a contender again, where he was like completely out of it. And I almost was thinking, boy, there should be a penalty for running that bad. But
that's the reward for running so good.
You gotta reward the regular season, and it's such a large lump sum that I'm okay with it. But I was almost wondering like if there was a way to reward like the person who did the best in the state or in the round. But we're convoluted enough.
Yeah, I can't think of a system that's better than this.
No, we're good. Martin can't keep running this way.
No,
like he didn't run great again. Like it wasn't. He almost backed into it. I mean, if Joey doesn't get in that wreck.
Yeah, if Joey doesn't wreck, Joey didn't run good either.
No, I mean he wrecked. The reason Joey wrecked is because of where he was running,
and he wouldn't have had an opportunity to do the pit strategy thing like he did at Kansas and squeak out a better finish.
Yeah,
but it certainly would have been a lot closer. And Truex would have been a lot more nervous. And I mean, even like Michael McDowell, if they'd had a restart at the end, Michael McDowell could have won this thing.
Yeah.
He was up there.
There was one point late in the race, I would say it was after lap 300, and the cutoff was all within 8 points of each other. I was like, holy crap, this is a really tight race. If something goes different, any of these tracks, it's just, I mean, gosh, it's so devastating to have a bad finish, and like Joey had nothing he could do. Yeah,
let's talk about the guys that fell out. We'll start with Joey Logano.
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah.
Joey Logano gets caught up in that wreck, but was running bad all day, and it was funny because I forget who it was that said on the broadcast that when they talked to Joey's going to say, it's our fault. We were running back there, and sure enough, it's exactly what Joey said when he came out.
Oh,
of the
he's
care
right.
center.
Yeah. Yep.
You run back there, you're asking for things to happen, and it did. So Joey Logano, last year's champion, is out. Kyle Busch is safe in knowing that there will not be another two-time, there won't be anybody that will beat 2 times this year.
Right.
Now. So he will still be at least tied for the most championships of active drivers.
Yeah.
With Joey being knocked out. So
and it assures us again that we won't have a repeat winner.
Yeah, that's true.
Which has taken it's Jimmy Johnson.
Yeah.
So long time now we haven't had a repeat champ.
Good.
So
good. That's the way it should be.
It's good. Yep.
Yep. Kevin Harvick will not get to take his ride off into the sunset as the Cup Series champion.
Man, how bad was that?
That was, I mean,
they were lost.
That interview with Rodney Childers after the race, man. Rodney,
they were defeated.
Yeah, and Rodney really led it to believe. Like, he's talking about that they came here and tested. They ran the wheel force car, and all the Fords ran terrible except for the Ford that doesn't test and doesn't get data from Ford. So maybe Ford's got something screwed up in their simulation. You know?
I don't know. Yeah, it was. It was bad. I thought back to Darlington, where bad luck.
Yeah.
You know, but you can't. Kind of what I was saying last week. You can't have bad luck and a bad race.
Right.
And dang it, Kevin Harvick had really bad luck at Darlington, and it pretty much crushed their chances. They were just out to lunch here.
Yeah, they might as well not even been on the track. I mean, they weren't even in this race.
No, there was nothing they could do. There was not enough cautions to give them a chance to fix it either.
Yeah.
I mean, 5 laps down, just racing.
Yeah.
When have you seen that?
Running on your own lap half the time, half the race. I mean.
Yep, just junk.
What a mess. Junk. What a mess.
Yep. So Kevin will end his career as a one-time champ.
Yep.
Which is, I mean, hey man, he's a Hall of Famer. So
yeah,
one of the greats. But yeah, one title for Kevin Harvick.
We'll tie the next two together. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. and Michael McDowell. I think we both had them pinned as
those are the two I got round.
Right. Again, Michael McDowell. I mean, he finished the furthest out, I believe, but he was certainly the closest of making it in, at least racing his way in this race.
Yep.
Great round for him, and I'll tell you what, I think it was Steve Letarte that said during the broadcast, like, this team now is not a team that is a 20th place team. This is a team that's going to be expected now to run top 10, top 15.
Yeah,
because they have shown that they can do it consistently.
Yep, that's a 12th place car easy.
Yeah,
all the time.
Yeah, they have really increased their stock this season.
Yep, it's a good thing for them. It's
we've said here before that every backmarker team that suddenly becomes a contender, now somebody's got to fill that spot in the back, which means that these guys that are new contenders now, the 15th place guys now are also the ones that are going to be capable of running 35th because there's just only so much room in the top 15. You know,
the competition is so high now.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk a little bit
later. Yeah, it's going to tighten up even more.
It's going to get tighter, a little bit tighter every year now. Somebody's going to have to come backwards. So
$40 million will tighten things up a lot.
Yes, it will. It'll at least start the process, right?
Yeah, for sure. I just want to pat myself on the back a little bit here, James, because I got 3 of the 4 right and my first out.
Yep.
Tyler Reddick blew it, by sneaking in there with that win at Kansas. But
yeah, that's the one where you and I went back and forth. I'm like, man, I have two 2311 cars going through. Is that okay? And sounds like it is, because Bubba Wallace, man, that stage finish they had where they finished 3rd in the end of stage 1 got them through.
Yeah.
Got him 8 extra points, and that was enough to give him that. What was it? End up being a 4 or 5 point buffer?
I think it was like 4 points. Yeah.
Yeah. So Bubba Wallace, he stays alive.
Both 2311 cars are in the round of 12.
Yep. I picked the wrong Penske car to not make it.
Yeah.
I had Blaney out. Logano is actually out.
Yeah, it's interesting because Logano being out doesn't surprise me because they haven't run good this year.
No, they're junk.
Despite having the win, they've not run. I mean, they won at Talladega, so or Atlanta. Sorry, Atlanta. So that's a super speedway race that doesn't show you anything. But it was so hard to bet against Logano because he's one of those guys that is always there.
Yeah.
So surprising, but not surprising to see him fall out.
Yep. So yeah, Blaney wasn't even good in this race, but they were good enough to make it through. So, it's Penske's in trouble. I don't feel really good about Blaney going on.
Ford, man. I mean, although again, you got Michael McDowell finished 6th, Brad Keselowski finished 8th. I mean, RFK doesn't seem to be hurting.
Nope.
Front row's not hurting, but everybody else in Ford is.
Yeah, Penske and Stewart-Haas, the flagships are hurting. It's weird.
Yes, it is. Anything else with this race worth talking about? I mean, we can hit on Carson Hocevar again. Finished 11th. He earned himself a couple more Cup Series starts too.
Yep.
Today, so good to see that. Great
round
shout
for
out
from Jimmy.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and I mentioned Michael McDowell finishing up there, but Ricky Stenhouse Jr. finished 10th in this race too. He wasn't a slouch in this thing.
No, I mean, those guys, we knew they had to come in and win,
Yep.
and they weren't like knocking on the door of a win, but man, were they around. Like if something had happened, late caution or something, they at least came and gave themselves a chance.
Yep.
They gave themselves a chance, which is almost all you can ask for. We mentioned Ty Gibbs really quick. I mean, that was probably his best race.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
Far. Top 5, he led over 100 laps. Like that was Ty Gibbs like knocking on the door of getting a win.
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like it's coming so soon. It's gonna be tough to do it in the playoffs, but
I thought he might get that one.
Yeah,
I really did. I really did. He's putting a nice little. He's just consistent. Like that's been what he's doing all year long. He's just just consistent.
That's gonna bode well for him. Consistency is very important.
Well, he doesn't wreck stuff.
Yeah.
And that's good. I mean, he's getting a ton of track time out there, so that's always a positive for a young driver. I really thought he was going to win this race. It looked like it was going his way. He was flying.
Yeah.
But Denny was just a little bit too fast.
You mentioned Corey LaJoie too. I mean, talk about best races. That'd be Corey's best race as well.
He was running good, yeah, until he
led more laps here than he's led in his entire career, I believe.
I think so, yeah, and he was even involved in a wreck.
Yeah,
so
right. I mean, he finished 25th, so it wasn't a great day at the end of things. But 48 laps led for Corey LaJoie is pretty awesome.
Yeah, I kept looking up early in the
stage
race.
one. He almost won the first stage.
I know. I kept looking up early in the race. I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah,
Corey LaJoie is just hanging around. He wasn't going away.
That's become a Bristol thing too lately, where just somebody will hit on something and it's a guy you're not expecting and it just run away.
Yeah, I know he didn't get the finish that he should have. Eric Jones, would have finished on the lead lap if I think he had he thought something was broke. I think they had a vibration, and he still finished 24th. He put it under green, and was able to still finish only 3 laps down, 24th. So yeah, I mean he was flying. So yeah, there's a lot of guys up there, man, that were I don't know. It was good. I mean, we had a nice mix of everybody kind of in this one.
Pretty disappointed with Justin Haley's 35th place finish with that awesome Mountain Dew Chevrolet. That was one of the better Mountain Dew paint schemes I've seen in NASCAR.
Yeah, we haven't seen a good one since Junior.
Yeah, it's the best one since Junior ran one, and Junior's was the best one since DW ran his. So.
Oh yeah.
There haven't been a lot of good Mountain Dew paint schemes, but
Kane had a good one for a hot second too.
Yeah, they're always one-offs. That's the thing that sucks. I know. After DW and Junior, they're always one-offs.
Can't do the do, man.
Nope. Anything else worth discussing in this one, James?
Well, we got a decent playoff coming here. This round is such a tough one. Looking ahead.
Yeah.
Gosh, like I talked about Blaney, but Blaney can win any of these next 3. So
yeah,
I just don't think he's got the speed this year. So I'm like, who do I cross off now?
Well, it's such a crapshoot because I think Texas is still a huge unknown. We still don't know we haven't raced at Texas enough to know what to expect there.
It's going to be wild.
Talladaga's Talladega.
I do know who's going to be around. We've got 2 clear championship favorites now. Denny, obviously.
Yeah.
But Kyle Larson set the record for average finish in a round. I think it was 2.3 or something like that. He was top 4 each race. So he was second in this one. So between those 2 guys, we've got pretty clear cut top 2 now. After that round really separated some dudes a little bit.
There you go. All right, let's move on. Just to recap, Kyle Larson is your points leader right now, 11 points over Denny Hamlin. Ty Gibbs was your highest finishing rookie in this one. This was Denny Hamlin's 51st victory in 643 Cup Series races, James.
Yes, and the points re-rack, like we mentioned. So Martin Truex Jr. bumps all the way back up.
Yep.
He's technically the points. I guess he's technically the points leader. He's tied with William Byron as far as playoff points are concerned.
Yeah.
So we re-rack him. Bubba Wallace has 0 playoff points, so he's got some work to be done, but he's not too far out of the cutoff. Going into this round, the first 4 out are it's Brad, Ross, Blaney, and Bubba are the first 4 out.
There you go.
Starting this round. So
There you go.
Dang.
You think Bubba can squeak in one more?
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
Well, he'll win. He can win Talladega though. This is tough.
That's true.
This is a tough round.
Yeah, a lot of wild cards in this round. I still think the Roval's a pretty big wild card too. So.
Yep. Like, what do I do with Brad? Brad's been
Yeah.
super consistent. Does he go and like win Talladega? Like, I think he's had every super speedway race this year. He's had a top 5 outside of the Daytona 500. So
yeah,
could be one to watch. Also, his teammate won Daytona. So with him pushing. So
yeah, right.
So I don't know who's gonna fall out, but you gotta get through Texas, and that's where we're heading. So
yep,
there you go.
NASCAR Xfinity Series is in action Friday night, Food City 300. Justin Allgaier gets the win, 110 laps led. I mean, this was honestly, we had some guys run up front. One we'll talk about here in a minute, but this was Allgaier's race. He finished first in stage 2, second in stage 1, led 110 laps. Pits late for tires. Big gamble because he wasn't winning this race where he was. Pits for tires and a late restart. Comes back to the field to get the win. Good win for Justin Allgaier. Locks himself into the next round.
Just waiting for him to screw it up.
Yeah, exactly, but never did it. But the old boss man almost won this thing, James. Dale Jr. almost won this damn race.
Man, I tweeted because I was watching, and all I said was I'm off my ass watching Dale Jr. It was
we wouldn't have been able to go back to Bristol in the spring because they would have torn the place down.
Oh, they would have tore it down. It was awesome. He gave it such a ride. He was legit leading laps.
He was, man.
Oh,
he had a fast car. And the funny thing is that 2 Junior Motorsports cars did so well. Dale Jr. almost wins the race. Justin Allgaier does win the race. And the rest of the Dale Junior Motorsports cars wrecked each other in the same damn wreck.
Yes, they did. Yeah, they did.
So,
yep.
But yeah, I mean, how good to see Junior out front. He's running another race here coming up pretty soon.
Yeah.
At Homestead. So good to see that. Yep. Yeah, man. Got to give. I haven't his post race press conference was 20 minutes. I haven't watched it yet, but I know they talked a little bit about future races and stuff.
Yep.
I mean, that's got to make you feel pretty good when you come in there and you can run that well. I mean, Junior has always been good at Bristol, but he hasn't raced at Bristol in what, 5 years, 6 years?
Yeah, that's what he said. 6 years.
Man.
Wow. It was, man, that was fun. That
fire scared him though.
Oh yeah.
Which you don't blame as somebody who's been burned.
Yeah. He's got obviously, he's got quite a history with that, but, man, it was just fun to watch. Those cars were racy. They were racy as hell.
Such a great
Dale
race.
Jr. was in it. Yeah, it was good. It was
the worst thing about Bristol is when you get down to like 10 to go and the laps just go so fast. It's like, man, I want like 200 more laps.
Yeah.
Especially in the Xfinity race, man. The Xfinity race just leaves you wanting more.
Yes, it does.
Such a great race. I mean, 300 laps here with this car. Damn, just run this freaking thing on Sunday. God's sakes.
Yeah, we talked about that last week on the pod. Like they have
I
NASCAR
heard some other podcasts talking about it.
Yeah, NASCAR has the perfect car. They just raced it on the wrong day.
Yep.
That's
too bad.
Yep.
Well, good job for Justin Allgaier to make his way into the next round. John Hunter Nemechek hangs out right up front in third. I did some offline ripping of Daniel Hemrick this week. We'll talk more about that in a minute. And he almost won this damn race.
Yeah, I gotta tell you who I was rooting for. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I was waiting to put my foot in my mouth on that one.
I wanted the storyline. Yeah, I just want results for the podcast at this point. So,
yeah, well, yeah, you almost got it.
We didn't get it.
Darlington, you almost get it with Harvick, and you almost get it with Hemrick. And
I know.
I mean, and Brandon Jones is running good in this race too, and then wrecked. So
yeah, I know. Yeah, well,
I mean, he finished third in the first stage, so
he did.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. 30th place, but man, that doesn't tell a story. 9th and 4th.
He's got a hole in his pants.
47 laps led. Yeah,
I thought for sure you were gonna cut that audio.
I wanted to pull some audio. There was a lot of audio I wanted to pull.
Burned a hole in my pants.
There was a clip on TikTok of a bunch of his in-car audio and stuff, and it was really good. It was good.
Yeah,
you can tell he was having a good time.
Oh yeah.
But my favorite was the one they played on TV where he's like, "If I'm good, leave me alone."
Yeah, he had his own. He had his own. What do they call it? Radioactive.
Yeah.
It was just all Dale Jr. clips.
Yep, it's good stuff. Good stuff. So 22 victories on 432 Xfinity Series races for Justin Allgaier. And then he broke some news after the race, which I guess we'll mention later, but we mentioned it now. Justin Allgaier will return to Junior Motorsports next season. Signed the contract earlier in the week, just hadn't announced it yet. So good for him. I think, Justin, I know a lot of people have talked about him moving back up to Cup, but I think he's found a good place where he's at, personally. I mean...
Yeah, I don't think. He's like the Matt Crafton of the Xfinity Series.
I mean, I think he'd do an AJ Allmendinger, and if they brought him up, he'd do it. Yeah. But he's really... I think he's in a good leadership role there at Junior Motorsports. He's got a good role. He can race a full season. He's got a big name, but he doesn't have to be there every single weekend. And
Yep.
I think it's good for him, and it's good for
he
Junior
has
Motorsports.
Sponsorship. Yep, he's good, man. Yeah, that's what you need.
Yeah, he's got to be pretty happy where he's at. So
yeah, he's kind of like the elder statesman for JR Motorsports.
Yeah. I mean, if you're an Xfinity Series driver racing for Junior Motorsports, you're basically running for a Cup Series team as it is. I mean, that shop's a Cup shop for the most part.
Yeah, and for the most part, all those guys are trying to get to the Cup Series.
Yeah,
I mean they're and so he's got a nice little niche there.
Yeah, he does.
Doesn't have the pressure of the rest of the guys. Just go out there and try to win a championship.
Yep. I like him there. I like that stability in that 7 car. Keep that thing rolling. Let the other rides rotate, but keep Justin in that car as long as you can. So
Dale Earnhardt's first Bristol start came in a 7 car. Saw that? I did not know that.
I did not know that either.
And he was leading laps.
Yeah.
Leading laps in that one too.
You know who made that 7 car famous?
Well, there's a couple of guys, but
Danica Patrick, man.
Oh man, I didn't. Let's not do that yet.
We'll save her for later. We have a part of the show to resurrect for her later on.
Yes, we do. We're dusting it off.
Yes, we are. Anything else with Xfinity?
It was just great. That's all.
Yeah, good
great
stuff.
Race. Love seeing Dale Jr. I hope he gets his wish and gets more Cup guy or retired Cup guys to race with him in the Xfinity Series.
That would be awesome.
We love nostalgia around here.
Yeah, definitely.
Yep.
Can't hurt, man. Get those guys out there.
Yep.
Dust the helmets off.
They do it in SRX. If they run SRX, they can run Xfinity.
Yeah, exactly.
Come on.
NASCAR Truck Series, the Craftsman Truck Series was in action on Thursday night. Nothing better than Thursday night NASCAR racing. The UNOH 200 presented by Ohio Logistics. Corey Heim with a late race pass leads 6 laps to get the win in this one. Advance to the next round of the playoffs for him.
The Christian Eckes show was spoiled.
Yes, it was. 150 laps led by Christian Eckes. The only other driver that led anything was Zane Smith with 43. And Chase Purdy led 1.
Yeah. No, thank you. Yeah. Good work, Chase. Good work.
I think Corey Heim's a big threat for this championship this year in the Truck Series. Big threat.
It seems like he's starting to get it all figured out.
Yep.
Probably a race he shouldn't have won, but he was in position to do so.
I think Eckes is dangerous.
But
I really think, and now that Ty Majeski doesn't have the bleeders on the tires, he's crap. So I would say Corey Heim is the guy to look at. I think Carson Hocevar would be, but I think Carson Hocevar has got his mind on Cup now, and I don't think this Truck Series champion. I mean, it means something to him, but he's not racing for a Truck Series championship anymore.
Can I give you a little stat on Corey Heim?
Yeah.
He has 2 races this season where he has finished outside of the top 10. He finished 15th at Bristol Dirt, 6th race of the year. And then you have to go all the way back to Atlanta, the 3rd race of the year, where he crashed and finished 34th. Other than that, it's a lot of firsts, 4ths, 8th, 6th, 2nd, 6th.
Yeah.
He's always in position. The funny thing is it's not like he leads pretty consistently. I shouldn't say that, but it's all kind of coming later in the year now. He's starting to put it together. So yeah, keep an eye out on him now. He's threatening.
Yes, he is. I don't really have anything else to talk about with this race. Fox did a terrible job broadcasting this like they usually do. Nothing like going to commercial and coming back with 7 laps to go in the race. Freaking stupid. I was screaming at my television.
I did miss 2 restarts on NBC.
Yeah.
Which I was surprised. Well, I was watching it through streaming. So
Gotcha.
I wonder if that was just the
I don't know. Like I said, I watched it, most of it, after 2 a.m. So
I can't believe you were up at 4 a.m. watching Bristol. Good Lord.
Yeah. But Well, I can't go on any freaking social media or anything because as soon as I do, I see who won the damn race.
Oh yeah, we keep you locked out. I was messaging too, and then I
realized
I
muted you, man. I
know. I was like, oh
channel.
Crap, Eric's at the freaking big house. I can't.
Well, it wouldn't have mattered.
Anybody.
I didn't have any signal there anyway, so.
Well, there you go. That's fine.
But yeah, when Fox cut to commercial, like I said, I told you, 10 laps to go in the race, they just click off. They come back with freaking 7 laps to go in the race. No exaggeration. How stupid.
and it's over in less than 2 minutes.
Yeah. Ridiculous.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, you run 8 laps in a minute here.
I know.
I mean,
yeah. Wow.
Well, there you go. There's your races for the weekend. Let's talk some news. We got a lot of silly season news, James.
We did.
A lot of
All in place.
A lot of next season news that has come about this week. Let's start with I think probably the latest news, which is Matt Dibenedetto out of a ride for the rest of this season in the Truck Series. He got the boot from Rackley WAR, I think is the name of the team.
Yeah.
Gets
just
the
call
boot.
it Rackley.
Yeah.
Well, he went out on his own and said, I'm looking for work in 2024. So they're like, well, good.
Yeah.
Start early.
Yeah.
We'll get somebody else in there. We're not racing for a championship anymore. So off you go.
Matt seems to have a history of bad breakups lately.
He's a diva.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of lack of awareness.
Yeah. I mean, he was so shocked when he got booted from the 21 car, despite the fact that it was announced a year prior.
Ugh.
So.
Yeah, it was a mess.
I don't know.
He seems to be a mess.
Yeah. Too bad. I had high hopes for Matt D. I had high hopes when he got the 21 car. He just hasn't shown it, man. And like you said, he continues to be in the headlines for the wrong reason.
He'll have a ride next year, though. I don't think he's done.
There's got to be a Truck Series team that's going to put him in. There's opportunities there. There's people moving around. So
I think he wants to go up to Xfinity too, honestly.
Yeah. Well, hey, that 38 truck's going to be free next year.
That'd be a good place to start. Yeah.
It'd be a really good place.
Yep.
Brandon Jones, speaking of drivers returning to Junior Motorsports, we got stability in a 9 car again too. Brandon Jones going to be back in 2024.
Yep.
Not surprised. I mean, I think Brandon Jones has Menards, and wherever he's got an opportunity to go, he's going to take that sponsorship. And where else would you choose other than Junior Motorsports? You've already done Joe Gibbs, so
yeah. Well, and you got to remember too, the Cup Series is pretty much closed now.
Yeah,
we've got a pretty good idea of any open seats that are left. We pretty much know who's going there.
Yeah. Outside
of, I think we're still trying to figure out what the deal is with Stuart Haas and Eric Almirola.
Yeah, the 10 car's got a big question mark.
10 cars technically open,
but as a Ford guy, you would assume.
We'll talk about chart. Well, we have.
I guess Brandon Jones isn't a Chevy guy. He wasn't a Toyota guy. He's a Menards guy. So
we got a Ford guy going to Chevy. We'll talk about that.
That's
next.
true.
But yeah, we've got a possible open seat there still, and we know what's going on with we know what's going on with Carson Hocevar too. So
yeah.
Anyway.
We already mentioned Justin Allgaier announcing he's returning to Junior Motorsports. I don't think there's anything else to discuss there. Trackhouse made some news this week. So Trackhouse has signed, no surprise, Shane Van Gisbergen to a developmental contract that'll have him in select races in all 3 series and some late model stuff and other stuff as well. I think we all knew this was coming, right? He wasn't going anywhere but Trackhouse, right?
Yeah, this is a fair deal. Go see what you're made of for a year or 2, and then come to the Cup Series. Trackhouse is. Well, we might as well. Let's do all of Trackhouse because I think we've got.
Yeah, so let's hit the other part. Trackhouse also announced they've signed Zane Smith for the Cup Series in 2024. Should we do Spire considering that's all?
Yeah, let's do it all. Yeah, because I think we've got moving pieces that are play a role.
Spire announced that it has purchased the charter from BJ McCleod for $40 million. That was our little hint earlier. $40 million for a charter that could expire at the end of the season.
Beautiful deal for BJ McCleod.
Yeah, no kidding, right? I mean, he's going to go race Xfinity, and now he's got $40 million extra for next year's budget.
Yeah.
And then
I'd be retired.
That car will be fielded as a 3rd car, essentially from Trackhouse. Zane Smith will be on loan from Trackhouse to Spire Motorsports.
So Zane Smith's coming up to the Cup Series.
Zane Smith is coming to the Cup Series.
Yep. So all these pieces. So Trackhouse is putting together a little plan. Here. I don't anticipate that charter stays with Spire for long. if they want to go for a 3-car team.
It's hard to say. So, and I wonder too, and this was brought up on,
and they're not going to be a 4-car team. I'll tell you that.
Well, I think it was brought up on Denny's podcast that we don't know if Spire Motorsports bought this charter or Gainbridge bought this charter. We just brought all that Gainbridge money into this team. Mm-hmm. So how much of that has to do with that? And if the charter was going to go from Spire to Trackhouse, you would think Trackhouse would have just bought it, maybe. But I don't know. Who knows? Who knows what this is? It's a very interesting deal here.
I like the idea of the sponsors kind of owning the charter.
Yeah.
It makes it a wild card in a sense.
The best part about this whole announcement was Spire announces that they're buying the charter and they're going to field Zane Smith for Trackhouse, and Trackhouse hadn't even announced yet they'd signed Zane Smith.
yeah, no. I believe what Trackhouse is doing is setting themselves up for a possible 3-car team here in 2020. By the time we get to 2025, really.
Right.
And what that could look like is you've got Ross with the Budweiser sponsorship, or Busch, whatever the heck he's going to be running. Right. But Anheuser. You got the big sponsorship with Ross. You've got a really good talent in Zane Smith coming on board. And then you've got, Shane Van Gisbergen, who's, definitely got the eye of a lot of people after that win in Chicago. So
you think Suarez is on the out?
I think Suarez could be in trouble for this one, unless they can buy four charters. I don't know how they get there.
Well, that's the thing. Like I said earlier, like the charter system has to be renewed by the end of this year.
Yeah, that $40 million.
It could just die.
Yeah, it's really weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
Part of me is wondering if Stuart Haas is even looking at it like going, well, we could just run two cars non-chartered.
Right.
If we had to. I mean,
those, you can't imagine. I can't imagine because I joke about the charter system going away. It's not, I don't think it's going away. I think they'll come into an agreement, and I can't imagine that the value is going to go up after that agreement comes. I don't think it's going to go up from 40 million. I mean, it might go up from 40 million right now.
I think it
might now, but I think once that agreement's in place and there's some certainty with the charters, that it drops back down. So if you're Stuart Haas, right now is the time to do it if you're going to do it.
Yeah, and then maybe try to get one again at another date.
Maybe. I don't know. If you don't have anybody for that 10 car.
Yeah. And here, Brett Griffin, let me just, by the way, he took a shot at BJ McCleod.
Yeah.
And you know the thing about BJ McCleod that you can chuckle and laugh at BJ McCleod for many things, I guess. But you know what BJ McCleod never does? Never gets in the way.
Yeah.
He never wrecks anybody.
Doesn't do anything stupid.
He's a professional. And that dude just cashed in big time. He does not look like a fool. And he's going to still go racing, man. So
yeah.
I don't know why Brett Griffin was crapping on him so bad.
Yeah, Brett Griffin's an ass. He is.
But
he gets paid to be an ass, so good for him.
But what we kind of hinted at earlier too, Eric, is this sport is on the up and up. It's like big money. We're talking big money motorsports now, more so than ever before. Like the little guys are getting squeezed. And I don't know how many little guys we're going to have left before too long.
And I'm going to ask you a question on that, because that came up on social media this week, and there were some people that were upset that the days of, so-and-so coming down the street and buying a NASCAR team and coming out and having a chance to compete and blah, blah, blah are over. It's like,
that's been over.
Those
for 15
have been
years.
over. There's the ARCA series for that. There's ASA that's back for that. There's late models for that. That's not NASCAR. You can't just buy an NFL team and compete in the NFL.
Right. Unless you're Gene Haas, you can't just buy an F1 team and go F1 racing.
I saw somebody tweet that they wonder what the founding fathers of the sport would have thought of this.
Oh dear God!
It's like, you know what they would have thought?
The checks?
Yeah, we're making a crap ton of money.
We're taking this money to the bank, son.
No kidding. This is exactly what they wanted.
I don't know if anybody's paying attention, but the cost of sports is skyrocketing.
Yeah, because it's the only thing that matters.
The Washington Commanders just sold for dang near $9 billion.
Yeah.
I mean,
because
and that's
the only thing people pay to go see live anymore is sports.
And that's the only thing. That's the only reason cable exists anymore is sports.
1,000%. It's the only reason I have YouTube.
Yeah, and so we just watched Charter and ESPN get in a big fight.
Yep.
And you know what ended up happening? Charter gave in because ESPN still has live sports.
Yep.
It might not last forever, but for right now, it's still the way it's going to be. Live sports rules the roost.
Yep.
And these charters are super valuable. And I'm good with the competition being ratcheted up. That means everybody's got to step up their game. You ain't stepping up your game, you're Stewart Haas Racing right now. You know?
Yep. I mean, I have no problem with it being an expensive sport. It should be.
It has been.
Right.
It's just more expensive than it's ever been. That's fine.
Yeah. But the thing is there used to be a time when if BJ McCleod this year decided, I'm done. I'm gonna wrap it up. I'm gonna sell everything. All he makes his money off of is what he's got in his shop, which is underfunded equipment.
Yep.
Now he makes $40 million.
Unbelievable.
That's awesome. This is what the charter system was supposed to do. Yep. So for once, I will give the big W to the charter system because
the charter system did its job.
Yeah. Something that I hate about the charter, I hate 36 guaranteed spots in the field, but damn it, if these guys can make some money when they step away, good on them.
Yeah, they should be able to make money when they step away too.
Yeah. Yeah, you shouldn't go bankrupt and then have to leave the sport with nothing, you know?
Yeah.
So, good on them.
Yep. Totally good with it, man.
One other team made an announcement this week, James. Colleague teased out an announcement where they put an arm that people were able to quickly decode down to Daniel Hemrick in their announcement tease, and everybody was right. Daniel Hemrick has announced that he will be coming to the 31 car for the Cup Series next season for Colleague Racing. And I think this was the most disappointing, ridiculous announcement of the season right here.
It was, what was it? What was the quote? It was going to be rock everybody's world or something.
Yeah, it was going to shock the world. Yeah.
Daniel Hemrick doesn't shock the world.
No, it shocks the world at how stupid it is. I mean, no offense.
We all knew who it was.
But no offense to Daniel, but dude has one. I get it. The one race he won was an important race. It got him a championship.
He won a championship.
But he has won one damn race.
Yep.
That's it.
Yeah.
Let's put it this way. Let me ask you a question, James.
Oh boy, here we go. Go ahead.
You own a Cup Series team. You need to fill a seat.
Yeah.
Would you hire Daniel Hemrick or Trevor Bayne? They've both got one win in NASCAR.
Well, if those are my options, all I'll say is I know Daniel Hemrick comes with a little bit more funding than Trevor Bayne.
Shut up. I'd hire Trevor Bayne.
Well, Trevor Bayne would probably produce just as good of results, but he just doesn't have the money. But it's closer than it should be. Let's just put it that way.
I don't know, man. I think this is dumb. I don't get it.
There's a sneaky little secret going around the garage that has been whispered about. Colleague Racing, not in a great financial place.
Yeah,
is what the word on the podcast and whatnot are saying, and that I've been listening to.
Well, I mean, it's Matt Colleague's company on the side of the cars. I mean,
that's right. Yep.
That Leaf Filter is his company. So
yeah,
I mean.
Yeah, I wonder if that's our next bottom marker. We were really high. We had high hopes for Colleague. It wasn't that long ago that Kyle Busch was rumored to go to that race team. So, I don't know, man.
Yeah. I still would not be surprised to see AJ Allmendinger go back to the Xfinity series and see Noah Gragson in that 16.
I think it's Gregson and Hemrick in the Cup Series, and then you'll get AJ back down.
Yeah.
Plus, you don't have to pay AJ a Cup driver's salary if you put him in the Xfinity Series.
Right.
So.
Yeah, and I would assume Noah comes cheap right now.
That's part of it too.
Probably getting about for free.
I kind of feel like Colleague's in the mismanagement zone here a little bit.
I think Colleague.
But off more they can chew.
Yeah, they just weren't ready to step up. You know what what Colleague's doing? Colleague is doing they're doing the KBM thing. They're just doing it in the Cup Series instead of the Xfinity Series.
Yeah.
KBM wasn't ready to move up to the Xfinity Series. Colleague was not ready to go up to the Cup Series.
They wanted to go cup racing, and they probably should have done it with a smaller team than what they have. Yeah.
Well, they started the year they were supposed to start, but COVID made the new car come a year later, so that hurt them. And then, I mean, yeah, I don't know.
I mean, they won Indianapolis. I mean, it's not like it's a complete disaster, but
yeah.
I thought they'd be. I mean, we penciled AJ Allmendinger into the playoffs.
Yeah.
And that just has.
Well, AJ Allmendinger should have been in the playoffs, and that I think shows you how poorly the team has performed.
Yeah, there's no reason AJ Allmendinger should not win one of the road courses.
No, he's the best. He's the best road course racer we've got right now.
Yes. Yeah. Yep. And he can still go in and try to ring a road course race. He's just going to do it unchartered for part time.
Yep.
Which is fine.
Well, there you go. There's your silly season news. We got some racetrack news as well. I hinted at this one earlier. Bristol will not race on the dirt next year. It will be 2 races on concrete. The spring race will be on the concrete as well. We do know that there'll be 2 races at Bristol, which is awesome. So no more Bristol dirt, James. But does that mean no dirt race in 2024? We have not gotten that announcement. Nobody's made that announcement yet. So
where's Eldora?
Well, I assume we're not going back to Eldora. I do hope that this means the Truck Series goes back to Eldora.
Me too.
However, there's a track they want to repave and put a points race on, and already had planned to dig it up and make it dirt for a year.
Yep.
We could run North Wilkesboro on dirt.
Apparently.
I don't know.
It's not out of the question.
I don't want to do that. I really think to put the polish on that place and then make it a dirt track is stupid. I think it's dumber than putting dirt on Bristol, to be quite honest. But who knows what'll happen? I think there's been a lot tight-lipped about North Wilkesboro, and a lot. Nobody's, like I said, nobody said no more dirt race. They just said no more Bristol dirt.
That's right.
So that makes me believe, and it's an SMI track. It's in the Fox half of the season.
I guess we'll find out.
They're talking about racing on Easter Sunday, so there you go.
Yep.
I wouldn't be surprised. I don't think North Wilkesboro would make a good dirt race.
No, I don't. I think I think dirt was an experiment that's going to be off the schedule now.
Like I said, I hope they bring the Truck Series back to dirt somewhere. I'd really like to see that. So.
Yep.
The Clash is back. LA 2024 Coliseum will have the Clash once again. I don't think this was a surprise, right?
I was going to ask you that if you were surprised. Yeah, I will say I'm not surprised, but I am a little bit surprised that it came back. If
California wasn't dead, if Auto Club Speedway wasn't dead, which we can't call it Auto Club Speedway anymore.
Well, it's on life.
It is not Auto Club Speedway anymore. The sponsorship is gone, so it is. Yeah, it's California. It's the California racetrack right now.
Yeah, it's not dead. It's getting major surgery right now.
James, it's dead. It's dead. Have they put a shovel in the ground out there yet?
I have no idea what they're doing.
There's not been a shovel in the ground out there.
I don't know what they're doing out there.
Last rumor I heard, they sold all the property. So.
Well, I haven't seen that.
But anyway, it's dead.
Where's Bob?
I will be shocked.
Somebody call Bob.
I will be shocked if we go back to Auto Club or California or whatever the hell you want to call it. But if we were still racing at California Speedway, then I could see this race going away. But they need to be in LA somewhere. So they got to run this race, and they can't make it a points race. It's just not going to work. There's just no way to do it.
Yeah.
Irwindale can't host a cup race. It's just not going to happen. There's too much uncertainty in Irwindale, period, every year for it to be on the cup schedule. Yep. Not to mention the upgrades it would need. So this is what you got right now if you're going to go race in California, unless we go to Laguna Seca, but that's not LA. So
no, it's not. Or a street circuit.
Yeah, that's true. But that gives them another year to plan it, especially if one of them comes off the schedule.
Yep.
And then, there's also rumors that Sonoma is going to be part of the West Coast Swing, which would be really interesting to see a spring race at Sonoma.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it'd be green.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So,
yeah.
No, I'm happy this race is back. I really like this race. I think it's a good teaser for the season. It doesn't mean anything. It's kind of a throwaway type of thing, but gives you a chance to see the cars in close quarters, and I think it's fun. I think it's good. I'd like to keep doing it. I know it's expensive to do it, but
I have no problem with it.
I'd like to rotate it.
Yeah, I think that's what they ideally want to do. They want to make this like the road show and take it to stadiums all over the place. But I just don't think other stadiums are going to be interested.
Well, there's just not. We talked about this before. There's not a lot of stadiums with a footprint as big as the one at the LA Coliseum.
Well, and the timing's never going to be right.
Yeah,
you're telling
that's
me
the
it's
thing,
like
right?
Like the stadium in New York, right? Okay, where the Giants and Jets play. Let's put this example out there so people can see what I'm getting at. Would you rather lock that place down so you can put in blacktop and have the big NASCAR event there for a weekend, or do you want to sell out 7 straight nights of Taylor Swift?
Right, exact,ly. And you're talking your
big revenue. You know what I mean?
Taylor Swift or WrestleMania or all that stuff that they put in.
Yes.
And you're talking 2 months. You're taking it off the schedule just about to build this track.
And LA Coliseum is just one of a billion places you can go in Los Angeles. Now there's gonna come a time where we're gonna be coming up against the Olympics. I guess I don't know. With the Olympics that could possibly come to LA down the road. I mean, we're talking way out in advance.
Yeah.
I just don't.
I don't see this race. I don't see this race returning after next year here.
Probably not. Yeah.
We'll
do the Bristol thing. We'll do 3 of them.
Yeah. So. Road America will not have a NASCAR race next season. Season ticket holders were notified this week. I think that's a bummer. I personally think the Cup Series should be there again. I think this is a great track for NASCAR. Although it made me a little nervous when we saw Chandler Smith hit the wall there and how much damage the shitty walls that track did.
Yeah.
It certainly could use some improvement to bring NASCAR back there, but it's a road course, so what do you expect? But I think it's a great road course. Despite the length of it, I think it's a great road course.
Oh, that last Xfinity Series. NASCAR. Yeah, that last Xfinity Series race was incredible.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I joke about, I talk about Laguna Seca, but I don't know that Laguna Seca would be a good NASCAR track, but Road America is. It very much is. It races very well as a stock car track.
Yep, it does. It does.
And then our last racetrack rumor, I'll let you do your little dance. Chicago Street Course will be back in 2024.
Yes.
For the last time, it says.
Yeah.
NASCAR supposedly, according to this rumor, again, this is not confirmed, NASCAR supposedly is 100% committed to returning to Chicagoland Speedway in 2025. That's my chance to do a little dance. Chicagoland Speedway looked really good for Super Motocross this past weekend. It was really nice to see stuff at that track.
Yeah, let's fast forward and get through this to get to there. Everybody will be happy.
So I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Why don't you want the Chicago Street Course? Do you have a problem with the street course itself?
I just don't think NASCAR needs to be racing in the street.
Okay.
I think the Cup Series can, here's the one thing that NASCAR has proven. We can race these things anywhere.
Right.
There's no doubt about that now.
So the fact that we're bringing it to a city and we don't have to build a racetrack in the city. I mean, we are building a racetrack in the city, but we don't have to build a permanent racetrack.
Yeah.
Isn't that a good thing? Like,
I would just rather see it on a traditional oval. But again, that's boring, right? Fans don't want boring. So right. I get it. I was never enamored with the idea of the Chicago Street Course. Not to say that it's a bad idea. I know I'm wrong when I say that. I don't like me not liking it. I know, like, I'm a minority on that because it's good. Like, the Chicago Street Course was good. Yeah.
It was good despite the disaster that it was.
Yeah. I just don't think that. I think NASCAR came in there and kind of touted that it was going to be a giant business boom for the city of Chicago, and I don't think that's true. I think it's probably breaking even, or maybe just a little bit better than that for that whole thing.
You're basing that on zero actual factual information, though, right?
No, I have read some stuff on this, so. From some of the things that I've seen that were some of the business owners were very disappointed.
Was it from the Chicago Tribune or the Chicago Sun-Times? Because one of them likes NASCAR and one of them doesn't. I don't remember which is which.
I can't remember which one that was from. Probably the Tribune, if I had to guess. Yeah.
Well, I know one of the arguments to Chicago, or the Chicago Street Course, is that the city of Chicago didn't want us there. Which, it's a good argument. But see, I have a counter argument to that, which I thought of this week, and that is okay, so we shouldn't race there because the people don't want us there, right?
Yeah.
So why are we spending so much time and effort to race?
Why are we forcing ourselves in there?
Why are we going to Nashville?
Well, people like us in Nashville.
Do they?
Yes.
A bunch of people don't. They don't want us to race at the fairgrounds. So why the hell are we putting all the effort in there?
People don't want us to race near the fairgrounds, but
build a different track. Race somewhere else. We got a track in Nashville.
Those people in Nashville, they can shove it. Try that in a small town.
I don't know. I just thought about that. We're spending a lot of time and effort to race at a track that people don't want us to race at.
Yeah, but we know Nashville Fairgrounds is good.
Yeah, well, we think it's good. It's not going to be good with this car, James.
I'll win this argument.
It's not going to be good with this car. This car's going to suck at it.
Hashtag more short tracks. We're okay.
Yeah, right?
We'll be okay.
Yeah, it's just what we need. Some more boring races because the car sucks on short tracks.
The car does suck. You can't win when the car sucks on short tracks.
No. Let's just mile and a half, man. Let's just build more mile and a half. Man, Chicagoland, I would be so happy to have Chicagoland back.
Yep.
Like I said, it looked great. They had a lot of people there for Super Motocross. It was a pretty good show.
Hey, it'll put on a show for you.
Yeah.
It will. It'll work. That place will still drive attendance.
It looked.
I think it'll be good.
It looked like they never left there. It looked great. So.
Yep.
Hell, if we can go back to Nashville Super Speedway, we can go back to Chicagoland. That place is still in great shape.
Yep.
Speaking of tracks that we don't want to go back to, we're going racing the Texas Motor Speedway this weekend, James. It's the Auto Trader Echo Park Automotive 400, NASCAR Xfinity Series in action as well, the Andes Frozen Custard 300. No Truck Series race this weekend, just the Cup and Xfinity Series. And I have been trying to think of my pick through this whole broadcast because I have not made my pick yet or decided who I was picking. I think I know who I'm picking. I'm going to play a little bit of offense and defense this weekend. So you got the win last week with Christopher Bell, 54 points over my Brad Keselowski. You got 33. You lead by 152 in this stupid contest that I will not ever possibly win. But I am going to take last year's winner and go Tyler Reddick as my pick.
Oh, and the most recent 1.5 mile winner.
Yeah, I'm taking him because I was going to take Kyle Larson, but you can't take him because you already took him. So
I can't take Kyle Larson, but you couldn't take William Byron.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
That's where I am going to go.
All right.
Take William Byron. I'm going to use my Byron right now. A little scared to use him up, but it's okay.
Oh, I put that in the wrong spot on the notes.
So Byron is gone. Reddick is gone.
There you go.
All right.
How about a fantasy update?
Yeah.
I didn't even look at it, but I know when you shared in our group message, you showed like the top 8, I think it was, and I wasn't in any of that. So
I messaged so we have a message with one of our buddies, Todd. Todd won. And I said, "Damn it, Todd," because he did win. I thought I was having a really good day, but let me see. I just got to load. Actually, hold on. Load it back up. So after last week's debacle where I finished dead last, I came back to finish second. So Freight Train is the winner. I was second, and Ranger Runyon was third. Eric, you were
bad.
12th. Yeah, you were where I was last week.
Terrible.
So playoff standings, I jumped back from I think 4th back to 1st, and then overall standings, the top 3. Barron Speedway still number 1. I have 1 point over Ranger in 3rd, so I'm in 2nd. Ranger's 3rd. Tandem Draftona 4th, and Green Eggs and Hamlin is 5th. Between 2nd and 5th, we are separated by 72 points. So anybody's game.
There you go.
Once you get to 6th, it's kind of off the rails.
Can't be over soon enough.
Yeah, Barron's got a 300-point lead now on me.
It's ridiculous. It's almost as bad as our picks.
Yeah, we're all just fighting for 2nd now.
Yeah.
I'll finish. You know what? If I finish 2nd again, which will be, I think, 3 seconds and a 1st for me in the history of the league, I guess I'm doing okay.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
At least I got my 1, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Better than me.
Yep.
How about shout-outs this week, James? Any shout-outs?
I was going to shout out Dale Jr. because he quoted my boy Kobe Bryant before getting in the car on Saturday. I saw that on the download, so I'm going to have to go in and check that out now.
There you go.
So shout out Dale Jr. And I was loving watching him out there, man. It was just so cool. Just watching Dale Jr. do his thing.
So my shout out is not as much of a shout out as kind of just a history. Oh my gosh, I didn't know this existed thing. I got caught in the YouTube rabbit hole the other day looking for something and stumbled across. Did you know that the former Arca Bondo Marhide series, which is now the Arca Menard series, raced at Owasso Speedway?
Oh, I did not know that.
No idea. 1995 was the last time, I believe, that they raced at Owasso Speedway. And prior to that, they raced on the dirt track at Dirt Half Mile at Owasso Speedway back in the 80s.
Well, there you go.
But 1995, they raced. It's on YouTube. You can find the video on YouTube of the race at the I think it's a three.
Is it 3/8 mile?
I think it's 3/8 mile track.
Who was in the race? Do you know?
I didn't even get that far. But 1995, so whoever was racing ARCA in 95. I mean, it was a competitive series back then. There were a lot of cars.
Yeah.
But I thought that was pretty cool, especially considering the new owner has aspirations for that type of stuff. So I wouldn't be surprised to see ARCA return, and it might not be as big of a stretch for ARCA to come back if they've raced there before. So.
Oh, man, yeah.
It's cool to see. So there you go. You got any black flags, James, or you want to just break out Jackass Corner?
We gotta let's spend our time in the Jackass Corner.
Well,
dust it off.
Before we go to Jackass Corner, let's take a moment really quick because we kind of need to talk about why we're talking about this person with some bad news to start things off with. So, unfortunately, we did lose Sherry Pollux this week.
Yes, we did.
To cancer. Very, very sad to see. Thoughts and prayers with her family and everybody involved, everybody that's close to her. I know touched a lot of people in the NASCAR series.
She was a brilliant woman and did a lot before she was even diagnosed, did a ton for cancer research for children.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like her life's work and just a light in the world.
Yeah.
I mean, she was amazing.
Yeah, I never got to meet Sherry, but seems like a wonderful person. As somebody who I don't even know if I talked about on the podcast at all, we kind of just worked around it last year, but someone myself who lost his mom to cancer last year. Cancer sucks, man. It's a horrible, horrible disease. And appreciate all that Sherry's done for the research and awareness of that. And very sad to see her go. Unfortunately, somebody thought they should use that situation to call out somebody they don't like. And you want to take it, James, or you want me to go with it?
Yep. No, let me. I'm ready.
Have at her, man. Have at her. We're dusting off Jackass Corner this week because we need to enshrine somebody permanently in Jackass
The
Corner.
Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
The Jackass Hall of Fame.
Yes.
Danica Patrick.
Yes.
Took the opportunity to take a screenshot of Martin Truex Jr.'s prepared statement on the passing of his ex-girlfriend, Sherry Pollux, and basically said, "Now, Sherry, you don't have to deal with him anymore. Somebody I didn't care for."
Ridiculous.
How tone deaf and stupid is that? It is not the time or place to one. Sherry hadn't even been gone for 24 hours.
Right. Yeah.
To drag Martin Truex for something that him and his ex-girlfriend dealt with in their personal life that we have no idea about.
Right.
Not the time or place to talk about that either. And I don't care if you like Martin Truex Jr., hate Martin Truex Jr., whatever, Danica. But my God, I mean, the guy is probably obviously grieving. Mm-hmm. I mean, him and Sherry were together for a number of years. I don't know, man. She wasn't. I'm getting more mad thinking about it because Danica makes it sound like she knew their relationship and was part of their relationship, which is between two people.
Right.
And Martin battled alongside Sherry for many, many years. And just this week before Bristol, Martin Truex Jr.'s foundation still hosts the catwalk that Sherry started for children in cancer research. And he was there, shaking hands, leading the event, doing what he does every year for that event, while Sherry was still fighting her fight. Just the most disgraceful thing. Honestly, Eric, I've talked on this podcast about Danica has her place in the history of the sport.
Yeah.
I could care less if we ever talk about her again.
Yeah, I'm with you.
This is downright disgusting, and I what are your 2 cents on it? Because I don't know if I can even speak on it anymore because I'm getting more mad thinking about it.
I really don't have anything to add. So the only thing I'll add is the only good thing that came out of it was the entertaining number of tweets that went against Danica Patrick this week, such as the latest one that I shared with our group, that Danica still hasn't learned to wreck somebody without wrecking herself.
Yeah, that's a good one. The South Park gifts have been good.
Yeah.
Bringing that back.
Yeah. I got nothing, man. I just it was appalling. It was completely disgusting, and she should be absolutely ashamed of herself.
Why did she do that? I mean, I know I'm asking
she
a
didn't
question.
feel relevant enough apparently, and so this was her opportunity to get her name back out there, I guess.
It's gross, man.
How about NASCAR indefinitely suspend her? I know she's not part of the sport anymore, but do it anyway.
From what?
Do it anyway. Make the announcement.
Well, this is just one thing on top of the other thing where with the F1 situation where basically what it boils down to, I'm not going to get into all of it.
Yeah.
What it boils down to is she's the only woman who should ever have been allowed to drive, basically. There's no room for women to have their own series or to race with men in Formula One. Because, Danica's already raced with the boys.
Yeah.
So, man, it's...
she's an idiot.
Yeah. I mean, I'm glad Jackass Corner's back.
Yeah.
But not for the...
Well, it's not back. We're going to retire it again after this episode, but we had to bring it back for Danica. I mean, it gets revived for very special people, and Danica is apparently one of those special people. So
her dating Aaron Rodgers makes all the sense in the world, though.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, those two are made for each other.
Yeah, I wish they'd get back together. Well, he's got a lot of time on his hands.
He does. He's got lots of spare time.
Yeah.
So
make it happen.
There you go. Well, James, where can people find you on social media if they want to share some Danica Patrick memes with you?
Yeah, well, Twitter's been or X has been good for that. It's really been entertaining. So send them there.
Yeah. I think we just lost James again, thanks to our microphone situation, but that's okay because I'm going to keep going. You can find me on X at T Super Speedway. You can find the podcast on Facebook at facebook.com/thesuperspeedway. Our website is thesuperspeedway.com. You can find the podcast on there, old episodes, race coverage, things like that. And our podcast is on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, and Anchor. Wherever you found us today, we hope you subscribe and continue to listen for new episodes each week. I hear James clicking in the background. I think he's back.
I'm here.
He's back. If you go to anchor.fm/thesuperspeedway, you can leave us an audio message, and we might just play it on the show. We had technical difficulties tonight. I actually have to edit this show when I'm done. So I'm going to get off this and do that. Until then, everybody, we'll go to Texas Motor Speedway this weekend. NASCAR Xfinity Series and Cup Series in action. We'll be back next week to break it all down and preview one of my favorite races of the year, Talladega in the playoffs. Can't get any better than that. Until then, everybody, let's go racing.